Hey guys, it's Terrie. So good to see you. How's your heart today? You knew I was going to ask you that. How's your heart today? I hope your heart is fan-freaking-tastic. Today we're going to talk a little bit about ego. Wah, wah, wah. On Instagram, I was asked this question by 𝙔𝙆𝙀🐼. Life. Thank you so much for submitting your question. I really appreciate it. She wanted to talk about, or she wanted to know more about slipping back into ego. So that's why I'm like, let's talk a little bit about ego. And I love 𝙔𝙆𝙀🐼 Life. I love how you phrase this. Slipping back to ego. And then she put this emoji like, oh, right? All right, people. There is something we just got to just get out here, just lay it flat on the table. And that is that the ego isn't all bad. The ego isn't all terrible. The ego, first of all, is never going anywhere. Not as long as you are wearing an Earth suit on planet Earth. Now, maybe if you were Venusian, wearing a Venusian suit on the planet Venus, you may not have an ego. Or if maybe you were a Martian, wearing a Martian suit on the planet Mars, you may not have an ego. But as of this conversation, y'all and I are human earthlings, and therefore we have an ego. And here's the thing about ego. Ego only exists pretty much in the third dimension of physical reality. And the reason why is because the ego is actually part of polarity and duality, which is counterpoints and opposites. And it is one of the structures of dimensional reality. And it's the only one that has the ego in it. So good news, bad news. Bad news is while we are human, we have to deal with this ego. When we're no longer human, when we are pure energy or just soul, guess what? No ego. Hey, how exciting is that? So gotta tough it out and suck it up, buttercup, with this ego thing. But you guys, the ego is not a bad thing. The ego keeps the human earth suit alive. It protects the human earth suit. It also is what gives the human earth suit experience. It is how God, source, creator, goddess, universe, whatever, whoever is able to experience itself. It has to have that counterpoint, right? It has to have that opposite from just energy to matter, right? So when we are having an ego flare-up, it's typically being caused by some sort of fear or threat, right? Because in human earth suits, we have a nervous system, and that nervous system is there as an not only indicator, but it's there as an alert system to keep the human body alive. So being egotistical is not necessarily bad. It's just that it can stop us from doing things that are actually good for us, right? So it creates stories. It creates thoughts that if we're not aware that that thought or story is actually deriving from or coming from the ego, that we might take it as reality, as it's real, as it's truly who we are and not the ego trying to protect us, then yeah, we can run into trouble, because then it might be hard for us to have that relationship or get that job or create that film project we're working on. I don't know, whatever, right? So the ego is there to try and keep us safe when we're scared or threatened. So here's the thing, you guys. We will always dip back, or as 𝙔𝙆𝙀🐼 Life said, slip back into ego. Okay, so I can't sugarcoat that for you. I'm not going to bullshit that for you. As long as you are here on Earth wearing an Earth suit, you will always have an ego to deal with. The trick is to understand at any given moment, be mindful and aware of your choices. And if that's coming from ego, polarity, or duality or not, right? That's where your power lies. That is where you have your ability to create a new reality, to jump timelines. So that's about working with the ego, not, holy shit, the ego is showing up, I'm out. No. It's being aware, oh, ego is coming out to play, but you want to know something? I really don't think what it's saying is true because I'm not really like that, or I'm not truly acting like that. I think it's because I'm scared about something. What am I afraid of? Oh, I'm afraid of being rejected by this person on this date. Oh, okay. All right, then I'm not going to do what my ego is saying to do, which is run away. No, I'm going to actually participate. I'm going to do the opposite of what my ego is telling me to do, right? That is working with the ego. That is not like peace out. That also takes a real sense of consciousness, mindfulness, and awareness. There's no way around this, people. You live in the physical reality of the third dimension. We are wearing earth suits. I'm not saying it doesn't suck, because it totally sucks. It sucks. And here's the thing, is that it has to happen. Because there's no way we can shift, evolve, change, and grow. Can you look back in parts of your life right now where you can go, oh man, I should have done this, but I did this because I was scared. But if that situation were to come up right now, you'd be like, oh, fuck that. I'm totally doing it. I'm totally going for it. That's because you've had more experience to prove your ego wrong. So human life is about experiencing. Most of the time we can really experience things by relating to things, relating to people, relating to situations, right? So we are here, human beings are here to relate. What the ego does is the ego is here to teach us how to relate. It helps teach us to become mindful, aware, and conscious of when it is coming out to play. So slipping back into the ego is so normal. It's so natural. And it's so 3D. And there's no way around it. There just isn't. Once we leave our earth suit, we won't even have to deal with it unless we reincarnate and come back and say, I'm doing this again. Which we all have done, if you believe in reincarnation, like I do. So, there's no way around this ego thing. Sorry, guys. There's no magic pill. So it's about learning to work with the ego, not just saying, fuck you, ego, I'm out. Or ignoring the ego, or thinking the ego is going to heal itself or do its thing. No, it's about embracing the ego. It's about partnering up with the ego. And it's really mostly learning when the ego is active so that we can do something about it, right? That's really the trick. That's what we're here to master. That's where we become empowered and not victimized. But that takes us coming online. Yes, it takes us coming online. The way we do that is by staying connected. Why do you think I always say this? Stay connected. Stay connected to your family and friends. Stay connected to yourself and stay connected to me. Because when we are connecting and relating with other people, we get a whole different perception and a whole different perspective that isn't necessarily what our ego is telling us. So we can actually say to the ego, thanks for showing up, but I kind of don't believe what you're saying, so I'm going to do something different. All right? Thanks. That's the whole idea. That is the whole idea. Yes, yes, yes. So you will always have an ego. You will always slip back into the ego. You just want to learn how to befriend the ego. You want to learn how to work with the ego, partnership with the ego. Yes. If that is something you are interested in doing, I can help you. I can help you. There's so many different ways, because ultimately what I do is I help people get into their intuition and out of indecision, which is all about the ego coming up to play, coming out to party, right? And take over your life. But you want to know something? You actually have some sort of control, believe it or not. You don't have to fall into the chaos of the whims of life. No. I can teach you how to get into your intuition and out of indecision. There are several ways. You can have a reading with me. You can do coaching with me. You could join my Patreon community of like-minded people. In that community, by the way, there are live workshops. There are live sessions that we do together. And it's all exclusive to the people who have membership in my Patreon community. So those are just some of the ways that I can teach you. I can stay connected to you while you shift and grow, while I shift and grow, while we deal with our humanity and learning how to partner up with the ego. Yes? So if any of that sounds good to you, check out my site, TerrieHuberman.com, book a reading, check out the Shift Happens program, book a complimentary consultation to see if we can work together, join my Patreon, do all the things. Just whatever you do, just make sure that you don't shit on yourself if the ego comes out to play, because it's totally normal, it's totally natural, it's totally human, and you've got no choice while living here on planet Earth in the physical 3D realm. All right, guys, I'll see ya on the flip side.